I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up, told her if it's all me, everything is on me, gon' back it up. Matter what, told you I'ma do me, why you hating on me, it's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck, country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold-hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month, I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up.
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
What up, what up? It's Marie and Julius on Ain't the Ink. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, Julius. How you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. I'm excited. We are here together getting ready to be creative as it relates to our topic tonight. We are excited to be before you. And why? Because we are talking about reentry in crisis. But before we do that, Marie, give a shout out to OAA. What is that?
Yes, OAA, we are here to encourage and empower and educate. We are here to help with our resources, trying to give you resources, jobs, even in finding housing.
You okay? Now, you know that she usually is off the chain, but right now, this is her first time right here with our big background. And so we are going to give her a little bit of time to shake off those nervousness. But why are we here today? We are here, number one, because we want to change the narrative. What do I mean when I say change the narrative? Well, specifically, there are a lot of false narratives that when someone comes home, a returning citizen that is, they automatically go back to incarceration. That is not the case.
No,
you know, we are successful. We are successful educationally. We are successful relationally.
Yes.
We are successful employment-wise, yes. Organizationally. We are successful in many realms, and that's why we're here on Ain't the Ink, which stands for
All Things Relative Media.
And Incarceration to Incorporation.
Yes.
What we are doing is we are providing a platform for men and women who are coming home from prison, yes, or jail, wherever they may be, and we are allowing them an opportunity to share their stories. Why? Because we know stories matter. Yes. Why do stories matter? Because what?
It can change the narrative.
It can change the narrative. Your story, yes, Marie's story,
yes,
my story can change the narrative, and it can also do something that we talk about on our OAA, which is
Offender Alumni Association.
Exactly. And there are 3 E's. And what are those 3 E's?
It's empower, encourage, and educate.
And we do that because there are those of you that need to be empowered,
yes,
encouraged,
yes,
and educated. So that's why we are here every Friday on All Things Relevant Media, Ink to Ink. And we definitely give a shout out to Julius Hall and
AB.
Why? Because they are allowing us the opportunity to give you a chance to share your story. So it's me and Marie tonight. We thought it was important for us to come out and really set the stage. When we say set the stage, we are talking about reentry in crisis.
Yes.
Now, let me help you to understand what that means. I know I'm systematic, as Marie said, so I like to give you definitions, and then I'll let her run with it. What is reentry, first of all? Reentry is returning citizens, that is men and women who were incarcerated, whether it was 20 days ago or 20 years ago. They are returning or re-entering back into society. Now, why do we say re-entry in crisis? Well, a crisis is an intense time of difficulty. What we are realizing from stories is that men and women are having an intense time of difficulty returning or re-entering society, specifically in a couple of ways. Number one, jobs, which is employment, and number two, housing.
Yes.
All right, so Marie is going to just share a little bit about some of the stories she's been hearing, or even what she herself has encountered. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about why reentry is in a crisis right now.
Reentry is in a crisis because when a person or people return home to society, it is hard to find a job because of background. It is hard to get housing also because the first thing they want to do is run a background check. Mm-hmm. And it all depends on your background if you are able to get a job or if you're able to enter into even getting housing. So that's where the crisis lies. You're a human being and everybody should be entitled to a place to stay. And even today, as me and Julius talked today, mm-hmm. I even called out. Can I call?
Sure.
Okay. I called different places for mm-hmm. resources as far as like the EOA. I asked them, do they have any funding to help for us to help assist two men that is requiring about they need a place to stay and one need to play monies to help pay his rent. So they was telling me about Family Promise. They was telling me about Georgia rental assistance. And but how long do a person have to wait if you are an emergency crisis that need to have the money to pay the rent, and then you have to go through this process and you don't know how long that's going to take? You'll be evicted. So we are in a crisis.
And I love what she's saying because that's one of the things that we love doing is connecting dots.
Yes.
Whether they're our dots or other dots. We want you to be able to find housing.
Yes.
We want you to be able to find gainful employment.
Yes.
And it's difficult when you are first coming home. Mm-hmm. And when you get out, you have to, let's just say housing, for example.
Right.
Number one, you have to make sure that you get an application.
Yes.
The application fee is anywhere from $75 to $100. And that doesn't mean you're going to get the apartment.
Exactly.
So that's $75. Then there are other where they give you the key to go look at the apartment. That's a $20 to $25 fee. Now, granted, you do get that money back upon returning the keys, but that's $100 or $125 already.
That's right.
Now, also, you got to put down your first month rent. Mm-hmm. You got to pay your deposit.
Yes.
You got to put your water, gas, all that stuff, the utilities.
Right.
And so, who do you know that's getting out of prison right then and there that has all of that? And now, but we understand we're not here to make excuses. We're here to bring awareness.
That's it.
We're here to bring awareness.
That's
Why?
it.
Because it is difficult finding housing. I'm going to use me as an example. Do you not know that I was denied housing 4 times?
Wow.
Because of my background check.
Right.
I had a good job. Mm-hmm. I had some money.
Yes.
But because of my background check, I was denied housing. What we're asking is we want to bring awareness to our community.
Yes.
Because if we want to stop or reduce recidivism, and let me break it down. What is recidivism? Recidivism is the tendency for a convicted felon mm-hmm. to reoffend.
Right.
Or to go back to prison.
Well, isn't that easy to reoffend when you're trying to do the best you can and then there's nobody who wants to help to give assistance?
Exactly. And that's why we're here tonight. We want to make or bring awareness. And so if you knew what was going on, then hopefully,
yes,
prayerfully, we can move you to missions, move you to doing something to bring a change. And so that's what I wanted to share. I was talking this week to Marie, to a couple of men. Mm-hmm. And one person was sharing that he has a car.
Right.
He right now has a job, a good job, mm-hmm. but he doesn't have the means to be able to get an apartment. Right. And so how can we help men and women to do just that? I know that there are those of you that are out there that are wondering, should I allow this person to come live in my neighborhood?
Right.
But when you ask that question, you got to give up. Exactly. Yeah. And we are living in a second chance opportunity.
Right.
Don't you want a second chance when you are doing well, especially when there are evidence
Right.
that you're doing well. Don't you want a second chance, whether you're on that job or whether you're in that marriage or whether you're in that relationship? Aren't you looking for a second chance? Well, what about returning citizens?
Yes.
Can they not also have a second chance? So what can we do? That's what we're asking. Marie, I'm asking you, you may be able to be creative, right? What can we do? What are some ideas to help to stop or at least reduce this housing issue? Do you have any thoughts?
You know, only thing I have, Miko,
Mhm.
is I even called the Union Mission,
Okay.
and I asked to speak to Miss Monica Graham because she told me that they help assist returning citizens. She haven't called me back as of yet, and if they would not ask for, if they wouldn't do a background check, Miko,
Okay.
you know, I think that's really good. You have to give a person, like you said, a second chance. You have to, because if you don't, recidivism, that's why it's so high, because a person go back to what they know. So I just think that if they wouldn't do the background check, and now you say only 1 month deposit, sometimes they won't double that.
Yes.
Sometimes they won't double that. And who has money like that? And the rent is really high in Savannah now.
True. Mr. Oop said, what's up? He said, Marie, don't be nervous. Thank you for sharing that with us. And what up, Tisha? Tisha, all the way from Las Vegas, she's joining us as well. And there are others that are coming on as we are sharing about this crisis, the crises of reentry. Now, we're going to come back to housing because I got some ideas as well. But I want to share another crisis, and that's employment.
Yes.
You want to share a little bit about that crisis?
When I came home from prison, let me tell you, when I came home from prison, I remember going to Cameron Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady told me if I had a drug charge, she would have hired me. But because I had forgery, that's why she couldn't give me a job.
Wow.
Because forgery shows distrust. And I say, well, selling drugs don't? I don't understand. And you just have to give people another chance. You know, I'm gonna tell you right now, prison have been an experience, but it's something I wouldn't want to experience again. So you should give a person a second chance.
And you know, I think about employment as well. And I use an adjective on the front of employment, and that adjective is gainful employment.
Yes.
Because it's hard to start over when you are not gainfully employed. But many of us, when we come home, we just want a second chance. So we're taking whatever comes our way.
Yes.
But it's difficult with employment in some ways. One reason is transportation.
Yes.
A lot of people, when they first come home, they don't have a job. And so it is difficult for them to get from point A to point B.
Yes.
Now, thankfully, we do have the Savannah Transit, but some jobs are not on that route. They're too far out.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, you got a lot of warehousing jobs. And most of those warehousing jobs are way out in Port Wentworth and Pooler.
Yes.
And sometimes the city bus just doesn't go out there. So what we're doing is we are not simply providing a problem. We want to also try to be creative with the solution. And I know one employer that I spoke with.
Logistic man. Remember
exactly.
that? Mm-hmm.
And he said that what they were doing was not only were they going to provide an opportunity for men and women to work at their warehouse, but they were also going to provide transportation.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Somebody that's innovative, somebody that's creative, somebody that's passionate.
And we got his number, Mika.
And we do have his information. Yes. So those of you that have employment, gainful employment, that you're looking for some employees, by all means, please contact us here at OAA. And you can see we'll make sure we have our information in the chat at the end of this particular broadcast. Thank you, ma'am. But we want you to be thinking of some things that will help us. And so what else? I recognize that in some cases, you have to go through an arm and a leg to get an ID.
Yes.
Now, it was when we had the TC, the Transitional Center.
Right.
That helped returning citizens.
But you know what? So, excuse me, Julius. Socially and Apostolate also help with get IDs, helping you with your social security cards, because coming home from prison and you don't have the means to do those things, Socially and Apostolate is on Liberty Street here in Savannah. I have to get address, but it's on Liberty.
We'll make sure that we give that information to you. And there are other resources other than social apostolate. You got Union City. You got, I've just got through talking to someone. As a matter of fact, there was a need of food stamps. And we have that resource as well. There are multiple places, multiple resources, but it's difficult trying to find out where they are.
Exactly.
And that's why Marie and I are coming to you live on Ink to Ink. We are asking you, if you would give us some of those resources, give us those addresses, reach out to us so that we can connect the dots.
And I love connecting the dots. And me and Mika also love helping people. I call him Allies. We love helping people. So any information that you can give for us to be a help to someone, you can give it to us. You can, like you said, give us your name, your number, and Julius will take and call you all.
Okay, I like how she said Julius will take and call you all. But it's true, we will. Why? Because we are compiling a database, if you will, of resources. Because there are countless men and women calling and coming home saying, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I can't find a place. They're doing a background check. I've been denied. Can you imagine? I was denied 4 times, and that's 50 at that time, 50 to 75 to $100 per application. Who has that type of money to throw away exactly when you're not even sure you're going to get this apartment? Now, we are not lambasting people like, what do you call them? Landlords. We're not, because you got to make your money.
Right.
What we're simply doing is awareness. A lot of people don't know what's going on.
If you take and you have a background, right? A lot of private owners don't do background checks, Mika.
Right.
You know, a lot of private owners do not do, but they still want the application fee. A lot of them do not do the backgrounds, but they still want the application fees. And the application fee, like you said, $75 to $100, and then the deposit and the first month rent. And I know that, but the EOA does help with first month, deposits and first month rent. But you just have to find the place yourself.
And then, so we've talked about employment, we've talked about housing, and there are some other things that people are saying, how can I get health care?
Right.
Health care is another huge, it's expensive, very, and I know of a few. Curtis Cooper is one that helps out. JC Lewis is one that helps out. But when men and women are coming home, you may think that they're getting this information, but a lot of times they're not.
No.
When I was incarcerated, and for those of you that don't know my story, I was incarcerated for 26 years. And when I came home, I'm grateful I came home to a transitional center, which afforded me the opportunity to prepare for coming home.
Right.
But guess what? The transitional center in Savannah has been closed. As a matter of fact, there is no more state transitional centers in Savannah. There's a federal, but there are no longer any state transitional centers.
Wow.
So that also closed the door to many men and women coming home. Do you know this? That there are men and women who can come home, but they don't have a viable place to stay.
Wow.
They don't have a viable place to stay, an address. And because, number one, transitional centers here in Savannah have been closed, then that means they have to stay longer where they are. Because there are not that many transitional centers in Georgia. I should have did my homework, please forgive me, but you can Google that, how many transitional centers are in Georgia. And then you can multiply that times 60,000 people that's incarcerated.
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
And what also we're trying to do is there are certain programs called RPH housing, Reentry Partnership housing, or Thor housing. And what that is these are individual people, or I don't want to say companies, but organizations that are purchasing homes and setting them up for returning citizens. And that's something we are hoping to try to get done. But then, you got a lot of red tape when it comes to working with the city
Right.
and working with the Department of Correction and the
Right.
state. And so what we're basically doing is we want to show you and tell you that reentry is in crisis,
Yes.
and we need you to help. Marie?
So Julius, you saying that if a person don't have a valid address
Mm-hmm.
and they want them to come home, trying to come home from prison, if they don't have the halfway house, that mean they have to stay in prison?
Yes, and matter of fact, Tisha just asked that same question. She says, "Oh my goodness, what happens now that they don't have that center?"
Right.
Well, let's just say I'm gonna give you a little bit of logical multiplication. If a transitional center, hypothetically speaking, can house, let's just say 100
Right.
people.
Mhm.
Now it housed more than that, but I'm just for math's sake and simplicity, it housed 100 people.
Mhm.
You had 2 transitional centers in Savannah.
Right.
So there's 200 people that could have come home from prison.
Right.
So you would have subtracted 60,000 people that's incarcerated, 200 come out of there, and you got more and more that you can work with that. Well, when those 2 transitional centers close, what happens? There's less people coming home from prison. Now they may say they're diverting them to other transitional centers, but even if you do the math, if there's only 17 transitional centers, you cut 2, now you got 15, they can only house 100, you still got an overcrowding situation.
Yes, you
inside of the prison.
Yes, you
So that is why we want to bring to people's attention. I see you, Mike Kelly. He says, "Great show. Y'all put out tons of information, and we appreciate that, Mike."
Yes.
But what we're doing, we're putting that information out for you and others to tell other people, because we only got 2 voices.
Right.
But if 2 of us can reach 10, and those 10
reach 20,
we can get this message out. Do you not know that? Now, these numbers may be wrong, but I just want to give you an analogy.
Mm-hmm.
If 75% of our population is at least connected to
right.
somebody that's in prison, what if they had information like this? Now, let's do the math. That would be awesome. Do you not know? Oh, I should have did my homework. I remember, I think there's 2 million people incarcerated in America.
Wow.
2 million. Google it. That's all you got to do for confirmation. How many people are incarcerated in the United States? And I believe it says 2 million. Do you not know that the United States has more people incarcerated than any place else per capita in the world? And we only got 300 million people in the United States. What is that saying? We got to do better.
Yes.
We got to do better. What can you do? So I want to talk to the church for just a moment.
Go ahead.
All right. We pray, we preach, and we talk about the Lord and love and acting and all of that.
Right.
But do you not know that probably over half of those that are in church has someone, a loved one, someone incarcerated?
Yes.
Now, if that is true, do you know what's going on behind those bars?
No.
Many of us don't. Now, you might try to send them $1 or 2 here or there, and that's good.
Right.
And for the church, we're always hollering, well, I'm praying. Well, even Jesus said that we need to do more than just pray.
Say it.
He said that we need to put our actions, feet and hand and mouth to prayer. Find out what's going on with your loved one behind the bars. Do that, and you will be surprised, especially right now. Now, if you're watching the news, the violence level of prison has escalated.
Yes, it has. And I was talking to a sheriff, a deputy sheriff, and he said that it is more violence in prison, right? As a matter of fact, Smiley, we were talking to Smiley the other night when he was here talking to the young people. He said that it is so many young people getting killed in prison that even the guards are quitting because it's not even enough staff. That the young man was hung. He had to hung himself and was in there a day. And when they took and made count, when they went around and count, right, Mika? When they was walking around naked, that's when they found that the young man was dead. So guess what? We need to be awareness. You got to do more than just lip service, as Julius said. You got to check on your loved ones. Sending $1 or 2 is all right, but it's good to check on them. Get a letter from home. A letter from home is very important.
Or call.
Yes.
They have chaplains they have counselors.
Yes.
Now, some people may say, well, they're overbooked and overworked. But hold on just a minute. I love it when you help us do our homework. Tisha, thank you, cuz. Tisha says Georgia has 13
transitional centers.
13 transitional centers in operation across the state. That's down from what it used to be. That's not enough.
That's not enough.
That's not enough. 60,000 men and women that are incarcerated, and that's just a roundabout
But
number.
Nico, you know what? You say men, right? Because a lot of people, you say men and women, but I'm saying, like, when you think about the transitional center, like, how many transitional centers are there for women?
That's a good question.
How many are there for? Because a lot of things, when people talk and people speak, they always say about the men, but women are making up a big population of the prison system. It is a lot of women going to prison, I'm telling you. And I don't know how many are in prison, but they said women are making up a mass amount in the prison systems now. And where are they going to go?
True. Thanks, Tisha. And how you doing, Anna Davis? She says, we are broadcasting here at WTLD 90.5 FM in Jessup. And we appreciate you. She says, the Ladies Lord's Day Radio, love. Thank you, ma'am. And Tisha says only 2 are for females.
Thank you, Tisha.
She said only 2 transition
centers. So Tisha, if it's only 2, then that's not even enough, because I was in Metro State, and then I was at Pulaski. And that's ridiculous. That's not enough.
So what we're trying to do, again, bring awareness.
That's it.
Reentry is in crisis. Now, I'm going to say something.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, you can do the Google again. But I'm simply just making you aware.
Right.
I know that our last governor, when he was in office, he was promoting reentry. He was providing for reentry the funds. I mean, we had DCS, which is Department of Community Supervision. They were going into the prisons, and they were speaking with the men and women that were in reentry classes, and they were preparing them to come back into society. But when that governor tenure was up, then the money dried up, and they defunded a lot of the things that were in place. Well, now, what is going on now with those funds? I'm saying this to say that we need awareness. Mothers, I know a lot of you have been praying, Lord, bring my son home, bring my daughter home. And prayer works. But also, talk to your pastors. When those legislators are coming to your church trying to get your vote, telling you what you want to hear, find out what else they're doing. You have a right to contact your legislators.
And that's what they do. The first thing they do is go to the pastors, when they want the vote. So I think that'd be a good time to let's have a meeting about the prison system. Because Miko, we bring in awareness, but guess what? He like to change policy, him and Coco. So we need some policy change.
Well, listen, I don't change policy because that's above my pay grade, but we got friends who know that language. And so are we speaking ill of people? No, that is not why we're here.
No.
We try not to ever speak ill of people. But what we do try to do is educate. Remember what we talked about? We encourage, we empower, and we educate. Well, right now, we want to educate our community. Mothers, fathers, baby mamas, sisters and brothers, those of you, find out, pick up the phone and call the counselor. You just ask, how is what we call them? How Pookie them doing?
How they doing?
how Pookie them doing? What's going on? Or when they call home, ask them questions, because sometimes they will call home and say, send me some money, but ask them, what's going on?
How you doing?
How you doing? We're not trying to scare you, but we are trying to bring awareness, because I guarantee you, there are countless men and women who are doing well, whose institutional records are good, spotless, and they're ready to come home, but there is no attention.
So what do we do, Miko? So what do? We bring in awareness, right? We bring in awareness. It's a crisis. So what do we do now, people? Miko has given you, he said, let's talk to the legislators. Let's talk to the council. Let's talk to the clergyman, the chaplain. So now what else do we do?
Well, we ask questions.
Right.
We ask questions. That's ask yourself questions first.
Right.
Because if you are ignorant, like many of us were, if you are ignorant to what's going on behind the bars, if you're ignorant to laws and policies, then the first thing you need to do is recognize what kind of questions do I need to ask. Number one, what are some of these laws that are being passed in the dark? Because a lot of you don't even know the laws that are being passed right now. Find out call your representative and ask them what's going on in the prison system. Why are people staying in prison for so long who have been eligible for parole, who have a clear and clean institutional record? Ask questions, because guess what? They don't like that. They don't like when you ask questions, because then they have to provide answers. And a lot of times the answers are not coherent. They are confusing. So that's what I would ask you to do. Ask questions. The second thing I would ask you to do is look up on your internet. Google it. There are organizations, there are resources that will tell you what you need to know. For example, I know of some organizations like Deep Center, or there are organizations that will tell you some things about the policies. And I don't know off the top of my head, I should have did my homework.
That's okay.
Forgive me, but Google. You can YouTube and Google everything.
That's the truth.
Google it. Say, what organizations will tell me about prison laws, legislation, policy writing, things of that sort. That's all you got to do. I just want, along with Marie, to motivate you to move.
That's it. That's the thing. Move. He was talking about church folks, and me and him talk about this a lot, about different pastors getting from behind the walls, and not bashing the pastors. I have much respect for leaders, okay? But for them to get from behind the walls and get out and start helping people that are incarcerated. Because like you said, a lot of people are ignorant to the fact it'd be good to have help from the pastors, our leaders, because a lot of leaders love politics.
You know what? And we can be biblical too.
Come on now.
We can be biblical, because, in the scriptures, one thing, when I was incarcerated, I stayed in my word. Why? Because I needed encouraging.
Oh God, I needed it.
We talked about educating. Now I want to talk about encouraging.
Yes.
We need to encourage those that are behind the bars, those that are still behind the fence. Why? Because a lot of them feel lonely.
Yes.
And there's a scripture where God says he knows how to give family to the lonely. When I was there incarcerated, a lot of brothers were close to me. We were closely knitted, and we had a bond. There are a lot of good men and women that are changed.
Yes.
They are, the word is called, what's the word? I was going to use the word redeemed. That's the biblical terminology,
right?
Redeemed. But they are also rehabilitated.
Yes.
That's the term that legislators want to use.
But can I tell you I'm going to tell you what the warden said to me when I got to Metro State Prison. That man said to me, I'll never forget. He said, guess what? I don't need y'all in my prisons to have a job. He said, y'all need to be home being mothers and aunties and sisters. He said, prison don't rehabilitate you. You rehabilitate you. And it's a choice that we have to make. So what do you choose this day? Even if you're sitting behind the walls, what do you choose this day? As Mika will always say, you can start preparing yourself for the outside. Start preparing, start taking the classes. If you don't have a high school diploma, get your GED. And then once you get your GED, you can go on further from there, because there's a lot of things you can do while you're yet behind the walls, okay? To prepare yourself for the outside world. And it's coming for you. It's coming. One day you're going to be home, and you're going to have to get a job, and you're going to have to start providing and living. And so let's do it. And I know that you can.
And we just are encouraging you.
That's it.
What we have in common. Marie was incarcerated. I myself was incarcerated. And now look at what we're doing. We are out here on this side of the wall, still remembering our brothers and sisters on the other side of the wall. I love to say the phrase that I often use. I say, we may have started out wrong. I say that for a reason, because sometimes the system tried to make us feel condemned. We started out wrong, but look at Marie and I right now.
Oh,
we are finishing strong, and you too can finish strong. And so that's what we want to do right now. We want to encourage you to progressively prepare to be that person that you want to be.
Yes.
Study, grow, and mature. And when your turn comes, you will do the very same thing that we're doing, changing the narrative. People will see your life and they will think twice about categorizing all of us. What do you
Yeah.
think, Marie?
You know, my friend Linda. Oh my goodness, that girl, she is now. Guess what? She has her own bed and breakfast in Atlanta. She is a business owner. She got three businesses. She is doing well. She did like 5, 6 years in prison, but she's doing very, very well for herself. I'm very proud of Linda. And so, and even AB, look, he got multiple businesses, and Mr. Hall. He is the production. Look what he has. So guess what? It all starts with self. It all starts with what you want to do. So I believe if you take and start, as Miko always say, I'm piggybacking off of what Miko said. If you would just take and start the process even behind the walls, it can get done. Minister Green, oh my goodness, I love her. She would come to the prison, and her son is Travis Green, and she come to the prison, and she used to help us. I was in the choir in prison because I had needed God. It's not that I don't need him now. I need him just that much when I was in prison. This is the encouraging part, as Miko would say. You need him. I don't care who you are. You need God. You need him for strength and to help keep you in your mind. So I just, we can do it. Reach one, teach one. So when you from behind the walls, make sure you pull your hand back to help one up. And that's all I got to say.
I remember when I came home, and there were many days when I was incarcerated, when I was behind the bars.
Yeah.
And I was like, when?
Yes.
When? Never was there a moment when I said that I wasn't going to get out. Even though my sentence said otherwise, my relationship with Christ kept me with that hope. Yeah. And that's what we want to do. We want to encourage you to continue that hope, to continue to know that your time is going to come. But while it is coming, we want to encourage you. We want you to know that we are thinking about you. So we've educated you, the community. We've encouraged you, those that are behind the bars, returning citizens. Now we want to empower you.
What you got to say, Mr. Hall?
Well, I'm here to empower you. You're absolutely correct, Julius. We're here to empower everybody that we can. Marie, we empowered Marie. See, Marie got all this power now. She got all this courage. She ain't scared to do the show no more. This is what it's all about. We have done a service to Marie. Look at her. Got a name up there behind her now. So that's what it's all about, And those people that are listening out there, and you got loved ones that are incarcerated and about to get out, they need to get in touch with us. We have resources and information, and we, like Julius and Marie said, we're connecting the dots. We're helping everybody connect the dots. Once you get out, you have to have those people that are behind you that encourage you to don't give up, to don't go back to where you came from, to start your life anew. Because once you're in there, if you were doing what you supposed to do, and that's to educate yourself so that you can get out and stay out, then the information we give you will only help you to succeed, to be successful. Like Julius said, we might have started out wrong, but we can end up strong. And, my old saying, once paid, a debt is no longer a debt. You don't owe nobody once you get out. You don't owe anybody anything. You don't owe anybody any explanations. You go from that day forward, you can go anywhere from where you are. All you have to do is believe in yourself and want to make it. If you get around the right people, you can go anywhere. Don't get around people that's going to hold you back. Don't get around people that's going to get you in trouble. Don't be around those people. You got to change your life, or you're going to be back doing life.
And Julius, I want you to do something for us. We want you to put our email in the chat. It's jcampbell@offenderalumni.org, or you can simply put the Julius Campbell Outlook. Put the Outlook one on there. We can transfer it. Just put my Outlook email and Marie's email in there.
How about the Deep Center one? That's the one that's up here already.
Well, I didn't want the Deep Center one.
Oh, okay.
Put the Deep Center one. That's okay.
I'll put that one. All you gotta do is give it to me so I can write it. It probably got erased from one of the other shows being on the same file as yours.
Well, put the
So
Deep Center. Julius at deepcenter.org.
Okay.
Julius at deepcenter.org. And we can always switch it to my OAA email. But while he's doing that, as we get ready to turn this corner and come to an end, why are we here today? Whenever you see Marie and myself come before you, it's because we want to give you a safe space. We want to give you a platform to share your story. Get in contact with us. I don't care how long you've been out. Your story matters, and your story will encourage others. And so we want you to know that you have a safe space to share who you are and where you are. And, you know, we have even been empowered. Right now, Marie and I are doing a program called Verbal and Visual Intervention. What we're doing, Marie, tell them what we're doing.
We're helping 10 young men, system impacted young men, and we're having to encourage them, like we have speakers to come out. It's gun and gang violence, trying to turn the youth around so they wouldn't go down to prison pipeline, you know, telling them what not to do. We just had 2 speakers on, a young man, Smiley. He did 27 years. He's in the halfway house, and Q, he did 21 years? 25 years. And they were encouraging them, you know, not to do those things, not to follow the wrong crowd, not to let your anger, you know, overtake you, because your anger can wind you up in a place, as a Smiley said, in prison doing 27 years. And he was telling them how he done lost his mom and his dad, and they wouldn't even allow him to come to the funeral. And then we had 2 mothers speak first, whose sons and husbands were killed due to gun and gang violence. So we're real, and the kids they were in tune and they were listening, you know. And so it's good to try to give back. You have to give back. You have to give back. It's nothing that you go through in this life is not just for you. I'm not gonna preach. It's not just for you. It's not just for you. What we go through, the life that you live is not your own. So everything that you go through is for a testimony for someone else.
Right.
Okay? So that's all I have to say.
And so, you know, as she said, we just want to remind you that it's not over.
It's not.
It's not over. Continue preparing to be the person that you know you're going to be.
Yes.
And as you do that, you know, that platform will be made available for you right here with OAA, Offender Alumni Association, Savannah. The platform will be made for you. And not only will the platform be made for you, but we'll also connect the dots, resources, employment. We will do what we can to help you to get where you're trying to get to. And if we don't know where it is, we'll find someone who does. So without further ado, we appreciate you coming out. As always, those of you that ride with us on the radio, those of you that ride with us on Facebook and YouTube, we appreciate you. Just share this, send it out to others so that they would know that there are people who care about them. Marie, is there anything you want to say in closing?
I just want you to know that there is someone that cares. You reach one, teach one. So that's all I want to say. I love you, men and women that are incarcerated. Somebody care. Somebody cares. So when you get out, you can call Mr. Julius Hall, or you could call Julius Campbell and OAA Offenders Alumni Association. We are waiting for you.
We love you. We'll see you next Friday. Take it easy. Good night.
See you later, Mr. Hall.
Okay, see y'all later.
I like that.